Hello everyone, this is Prashant from the channel. Today we are going to see one of the very important in AP's point of view, Karate BDD framework. So many tools is there, like we have a rest assured, more coding, Postman mostly for our manual work. But if you are new for coding and if you want to try REST API automation with a less coding means Karate is a very good option because in this it's a BDD approach, like give and when then. Simply you can write how a simple English is enough. You need just 20% of coding. In rest of you want to do 100% of coding, but in Karate 20% is enough. That too, if you set up one time the framework is set up, it means you don't need a much coding here after that one. Only the initial time is needed coding. So today I'm going to do the entire framework from a scratch. Okay, from the project creation to up to the implementation of the framework. So people who are starting the AP testing in automation, if you know already manual, it's good time to start this automation. In every channel there are so many things is there for functional. Each function they have independent videos. You can watch those videos in other channels if you want to get a knowledge of each one topic. In this I'm going to cover entire thing as a framework point of view. I'm not going to cover the each functional point of view. I'm going to cover the framework front of view, like how to start a framework, how to from a scratch you want to build, where to keep the reuse files, where need to keep the environment files, where need to write the feature files, where need to give a runner files, where we need to give a test data, those kind of things. Okay, and I'm going to implement a test driven approach, like we keep the data in the JSON and we can use the data in the API, and we need to keep the centralized token. So one time token like auth token, like bearer token, keep generating one time and use the same token across entire framework. Then chaining action, like how the API chaining is happening, like one API, how it's running and getting the response and taking the few details from the one API and uploading, taking the data and using that data for next API, like API chaining. So we are going to cover data driven API chaining and framework completely from a scratch, and we're going to use the different environments using a Maven. Okay, let's start. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to create a new project. Okay, for that I'm using IntelliJ. Okay, you can use anything VS Code, and for Java and character framework Maven, IntelliJ is better for Java. Okay, file, new project. In this project, Maven is already selected. I'm going to use a Karate BDD. Okay, framework. Okay, so this is it. I'm simply already Maven is selected and my current Java version is 20.5. Whatever you ask, it automatically comes. Okay, click on create this window. Okay, cool, right? So this is the initial skeleton. This is how the Maven creates. Source file, in source there are main and the test, two things. Keep in mind, we are going to do everything under test. Don't only developers will focus on main, you guys simply focus on the test, that is enough. Okay, next two things we need. One is dependency. For the dependency, I'm going to share you this link in the description. You can take the latest Karate JUnit version 1.4.1. I'm simply copying it. Under this project tag, I'm creating the dependencies. Under the dependencies, I'm pasting this Karate dependency. See this? I'm pasting the Karate dependency. Next thing, we want to run the Maven test. So for that, we need to have the plugin. So that one, I'm sharing the URL in the description as well. This is the build. So you want to copy this build, and under the projects, you keep this one. Okay. This is Maven Surefire plugin. The latest version is 3.5.5. So this Maven Surefire plugin is used to run your test. You want to test. Okay, so in interview they are asking what plugin you are used to run means, you can say it's like Maven Surefire plugin for Maven test command. Okay, so now this is the two main. One is this dependency and another one is this plugin. So this is the two setups we storing under the pom.xml file. Okay. So this is the managerial file for entire framework or entire Java project. Okay. So now, as the first thing is, first problem, where the first problem comes is environment. In generally, we have a dev environment, we have a QA environment, we have a prod environment. Sometimes we want to run in the QA environment, sometimes we need to check the API in the prod environment. So for that we need to create a environment. Okay, so for that what I'm going to do, so generally if it is already came in, it's fine. If you see Java has resources, but test don't have resources. If not there means simply you can create a one directory. So you can name it as receive this, automatically resource comes. So one Java coding and all we write here. The resources is kind of JSON file, our normal dot feature files. Those things we keep under the resources. In Java we will keep the .java files. Okay. Now how to set up the environments? So for that I am going to create another folder. This folder is to keep the environments. Okay. Under the resources, right click new directory. I am going to write environment. See this? Simple. It's an environment folder. In this folder I am going to create a one file. Okay. This file is environment setup file. So suppose take an example, dev JSON. So in the JSON I am going to keep I'm going to maximize little for your convenience. So I am going to keep the different environments. So I am going to keep the base URL. So because base URL will differ for each environment. Take an example. I am going to keep a HTTP / I'm going to use a dummy. This is a like in my like for study purpose we can use a dummy. In project, what is your base URL in your project for dev environment? Keep here. Okay. So next I'm going to copy the same. What's another environment? Another environment's file. This is QA environment. Okay. QA.json. I'm copy pasting the same. Why I'm keeping the same means for testing you have only one, but in real time project you keep the QA URL here and the dev URL here. Some anything based upon the environments. Okay. Even credential also you can keep somewhere. Okay. In the environment files. Okay. Now the main file, like if you take a playwright, we have a playwright.config file. In that file only we keep all the playwright related config. Same for karate, we have karate config file. So this is under the resources we need to keep. This is the overall file. Okay. Some people keeps on the project, some people keeps inside the resources in both the ways. Okay. I am going to create a new file under the resources. This file is the karate-config.js. So in this file only we keep all the karate related things. Okay. So what to say, when this is the heart of the entire framework. Okay. So previously we creating environment. Under the environment we keep two environments and we creating a karate config file. Okay. Now what is the first thing? So there are three things. One is authentication. We'll do for all the APIs. Then all the APIs, request has a header. So we need to design for header. Hooks. Hooks means some pre-setups and post-setups and for each API. So there's three things. So what is karate config has? Three things. One is, you should know, one is authentication. Next is you should have a header. Then the third one is hooks. The hooks is generally we have a if we have a hooks means we can keep it like pre in test and GUIs, right? Before test, after test. Similarly, hook is for JUnit. So if you ask, you can keep it. Otherwise, it's not a mandatory. But this auth and this header is important. Okay. For that, I'm going to start a function. Okay. Function. I will keep a name f1. In this, I'm going to keep it end because you want to know clearly. So under this function only we want to write everything. First is we want to get the which environment we are running. So for that I'm going to create an environment. So where this environment come from? The maven command. We will simply pass right maven environment equal to QA, run this file at test. So at that time maven, it comes from the maven command, maven dot environment. It's come from the command line. If it is not there, I'm saying like simply keep the QA. So always run in the QA environment. If this value come from the command line, it will take that value. Otherwise, or condition, it will run the QA environment as a default environment. Okay. Next, now generally we for login we have one script for creating auth. If you have experience in manual, you have know. So there is one API. We need to call the auth API, like providing some username, password. If I run the API, that API will give a token. Okay, so that's the way auth works. Okay, we need to put a one post request with the username in a body and password in a body. In the response, we'll get the token. That we want to use that token across all the APIs. Okay, now I'm going to create that one. Okay, so before that, we should have that API. Okay, so this everything we are going to store in the config file, the variable. So this config variable only going to have your all the headers, tokens and everything. So we creating a variable called config. That variable is character dot as usual to read some files. So now I'm going to use, I have a environment. Okay, now like take an example, I have a dev or QA. This file, which file? This QA.json, right? Now I want to read it, that file. So for that time I'm reading the file. This word is very important, class path. So class path always indicates a resource. Okay, this resource is right. This class path is, so you don't need to copy the right clicking here, because in each system the path going to be different. Okay, so don't copy your path, simply put a class path. Class path indicates the resources folder, keep in mind. So under the class path, which folder? env, environment folder. In environment folder, now we need to give the concat. So our value is env, and which environment? env plus dot json. Okay, this file right now we're reading the class path under the environment. Under the environment, we are reading the environment, either QA or dev, that JSON file, and storing it in config. So right now this config holds this JSON with the base URL. Okay, so now the config is ready. Okay, now we go to the auth. Okay, so where I need a auth from whom? Okay, so for that we want to call the API. Now only the real Kartha is coming. Okay, so before that we need to go to the setuping the API. Okay, then only you should call the API and run the API, right? So I'm going to write under the resources. The first thing is I'm going to create a new directory. This directory is features. We need to write all the features files here. Features. Under this feature, I'm going to create another directory. In this directory, auth. Okay. Under this auth, I'm going to create a new file, auth.feature. Okay. See this? So auth.feature. I'm making a little maximize for your convenience. Now, here only we are going to write. I hope everyone used Cucumber BDD. So 4 things in Cucumber. One is feature file, scenario outline, given, when, then. That's it. And. Okay. So using that, as usual, how you speak in English, the same way the Gherkin language. Okay. First is we want to write a feature. In the feature, I'm going to write this is for authentication. Okay. So this is the feature. In this feature, I am going to write a scenario. Scenario is generate a token. So that was my scenario. In the scenario, given as usual, these colors are keep on changing. Okay. So I will show you later. We need to add a plugin. Which plugin? Cucumber plugin. Cucumber BDD plugin. If you add the Cucumber BDD plugin only, this icons, this colors and all comes. So under the IntelliJ, in the settings, go to the settings, click on the plugin, and in the plugin type Cucumber BDD. It will show, click on and install. That's it. If you install that one, this kind of icons and colors will come. It's easy for you to understand. Okay. Given, I'm going to create the URL. So URL is where its URL is coming. URL is the base URL. Keep in mind clearly where is this base URL coming. You want to give the exactly what is this variable. Okay. The main thing of Karate is it's easy to write, but it's all case sensitive. While writing this kind of names, right, it's all case sensitive. Be careful. Follow the same variable name across everywhere. Okay. Base URL plus, take an example. I have the path as login. Okay. Keep in mind, I have path as a login. So the base URL is coming from where? From the environment config, and I am taking this one. Okay. Now fine, right? There are three things. One is URL. Next one is the header and body. So for this login, there is no header. Let's directly we jump onto the body. So for that, we should pass request. Okay. In this request, I am going to keep a username. See here, some dummy value, and next one is password. So keep in mind whatever your new test case in your API design, what is there, use that one. Okay. So you don't need to be follow exactly. This is a dummy. So you guys, while you trying this one, simply use your real time explanation, the API design. Okay. Don't think like we need to give like this one. Okay. This is just an example. Okay. Next, what type of method? What is the method type? Method is post. Okay. Here I am post because generally auth token, when you passing the parameters, it's always a post request, not a get request. Get is just for getting the information. Okay. Then I am checking the status should be 200 or not. Okay. So now from the response, what is the use of this API? Taking the token. That is the only use of this one. So that means I need to store this def. I am taking auth token from the response. This path should be, you want to follow exactly how your response. Here I am taking example response.token. So from this response from the API, I am storing in the def. Okay. Now this is ready. Under the feature file, under the auth folder, the auth.feature is pakka ready. Okay. Now come to this one. Okay. You guys simply come back to the Karate framework. Here, what is your use? So you have the API there. Now your work is Karate dot. There is a method called single. As usual, what is the first thing? Go to the class path. After that, from this class path is features. Under this feature, there is a auth folder. Under this auth folder, auth.feature. So this is the file. So for this file, what we want to pass? We want to pass the config. Why we are passing the config? Because this auth need a base URL. Where is the base URL goes? So base URL stored in this config. I am passing this config. Okay. Now auth is stored. Pakka. Okay. Now what is my next work? And in this config, I want to update auth. You can give any name. I am giving auth token name. From I am storing this auth to auth dot. What is the variable name here? Here I have, this is the variable name. Under the auth, I am taking this. Okay. Now in my main config, already I have the environment. Now I added the auth token as well. That means wherever I am here after I am going to use the config, that config should have auth token ready. Okay. Now come to the global headers. We need to set up the header, right? So API is ready. Now header. So for header, we have a Karate dot configure. We want to configure. There's a first thing is I am configuring header. Header is a maybe sometimes we have a content type. Some companies will share other some parameters. Those things. Here I am going to pass the header. The first header is content type. This is a common across. I hope everyone uses same. In this application JSON, or if you are using text means application text something, whatever you need. Then authorization. In this authorization, what should pass? You guys know very well. Pass the bearer plus, so bearer is the string. In the string, give a little space, concat config.auth. So now the header is pakka. Okay, sorry, headers, because one means header when we have multiple headers. So I pass the content name and across everywhere my bearer token with config. So hereafter my header is ready. Okay, so I am just putting simple hooks here for time consuming, but you can use the same thing. Okay, karate dot as usual configure everything, only few methods. One is callSingle, read, next one is configure. In the configure, you want to mention what you are mentioning is like two things. One is before scenario, another one is after scenario. In this after scenario, you want to create a function. Okay, and just putting some random for log. This is very important. How to create a log for your response follow up. This is the one. Okay, write something before test something. This is for just for test. But how to log? Karate. Everything is karate. Now another one is I told you. One is before scenario, another one is after scenario. That's it. This hook will run before the API. This hook will run the all the API ending of the all the API. Okay. So now this is everything ready. The last step is you want to return the config. For this method, automatically runs before anything is started, and it will do all the steps and store it in the config. Okay. Now, any doubts? One is internal setup. Next is read the JSON file, internal JSON file, and load in the config. Run the auth step. In the auth step, simply you can go to the auth, run the login API, and from the login API take the auth token, then store it in a variable config.auth.variable. Do the header, common header, and bearer token, pass the token. Next is under the hooks, create a before scenario hooks and after scenario hooks. This is the karate config. Okay, so if you guys are new for coding, don't think this is a one time setup. This one you are not going to do daily. Your work is daily writing a feature file. So keep it very simple. Okay, next one is now auth is ready. I'm going to use it some basic things. Okay, now under the feature I'm going to write other feature files. Okay, create a new directory. This directory I'm naming it as reusable. I'm going to use all the reusable feature files. So create reusable. Generally what happens previously we added this one, right? We need to rename it. Give me a sec. So due to that naming issue, I'm just like this issue will come automatically. Okay. Refactor. So I'm creating some for testing purpose. Reuse the naming convention. Okay. Now I copy paste this because this always this is the issue of. Okay. Now two different folders under this features. One is auth, one other is reusable. Okay. Under this reusable, I'm going to create a new file. Okay. So I'm going to two things I'm going to do. One is create a user and using the post method. After that, taking the user ID. Next API is get user API by passing the user ID which we creating in the first API. That's only we're going to do. One is API.feature. Okay, cool. So in this as usual, what is the first thing you want to write? You want to write a feature. This feature is we are going to write all the user APIs. Okay. So next is first thing you want to know. So previously we are using only one time what this URL base. Here there are two APIs. So here only we need to have the new concept called background use. So in this background I'm going to tell wherever the URL is there, use the base URL. So what this makes simple now, it all the scenarios writing under here, this is a default run. It runs first, then only it will call the scenario. Okay, so we are skipping that one line. Okay, so now we want to write the scenario. Okay, scenario. This scenario is first is we need to two things we need to do. One is create a new user. Another one is simply we writing the get the new user. Okay, so now we will start the create new user. First is create a user. So this is simple post request. Keep in mind this is a post request. Given the already URL is there, only path I want to pass here. Path / users. This is the path. Next, as usual for body, how to pass the body, you guys are remember because we done it in the auth feature, right? Request. So first is I want to pass the, here I am giving only two things, one is name and one is job. This is one sample. You want to pass the hash name. I will tell you why I am passing like this, because I told you here we are going to implement the what data driven approach. So for the data driven approach we are using this one. You will get a clarity in the next 2 minutes. Wait for a minute. Okay, so now two things done. One is username we passed, a name and the job. Okay, now what is the method name? When this is a method of post. Next, as usual, what is the status code? Anyone guess it? 201y. For get request success only 21. Anything newly creating 201. Okay. From this, I am going to store dev user ID. In this ID, from the response, like how the JSON is there, use that one. Okay. Now I am creating a response. From response, take the ID stored in the user ID. I told you 1 minute before. Data driven. What is data driven? Data driven is keeping a test data, multiple test data, and use the multiple test data for same test case. Okay. So that only we are going to do that one. For that, under the features resources, I am going to create a new directory called data. Keep in everyone understand clearly. Still now we didn't pass the test data. This is the test data. Data. Under the test data, I am going to create a new file, user-data.json file. Okay. Generally, we keep everything in JSON is easy in API compared to the CSV or anything. Okay. I am going to little maximize for your convenience. So I am going to create one array. In that array, I am going to store one by one. One is name. Let's take Prashant. What's another parameter we need to pass? You guys can remember. Next is what? Job. Because that is two only we are giving in the API. SDET. Okay. So let's copy this thrice. Okay. So this is Ravi Dev Somu mask BA business analyst. Okay, so now you can visualize your three data. So that three data only you are going to pass it here. It will go, this will run how many times? 3 times, because the array length is 3. So it will run 3 times, and each time it stores in the response file. So this is the data driven, using data in one file. And tomorrow if I want to different data, means I don't want to update the code, I simply want to update my data. Okay, now you have a little sync, right? Let's go. We'll sync you. We will get more knowledge, in the coming next steps. Next is, I told another scenario. So another scenario I told you, this is for get user. So I have created a user. Now I want to get the user, see which is created correctly or not. So given See, if you see, this is the same sentence. If you know these 4 lines, you can clear an interview, you become a karate AP automation guy. So don't see too much of videos in everywhere and get frustrated. No, simple. This 4 lines only in different direction. I will what to say will to show you. You will get confused. There are so many methods. This is the implementation. Know the implementation. Learn the topic by topic later. First know the implementation. Why we need. When you know why you need, you can learn better when you're reading the functions. If you go, instead of that one, if you go for all the 30-40 videos in every series, you know the concept, but you don't know where to implement. So first to know what's the use of that, where need to implement. After that, go and see the topic. You will get important. Okay, so this is the way it is, but I use there this information. So first know test scenario, because that's what that manual testers do. First wrote a test scenario, then you can learn test case, because scenario is a simpler one-liner. What to do? Test case how to do. Same in framework also. Know what to do, where to do, then you can know how to do. Okay. Then is when. Method is for getting. You guys know very well what is a method name. Get method. Then check the status equal to 100. Cool. Okay. Now I have the background. I have the post request API. Get request API. Automated. Done. Okay. Now this is reusable. We are not calling. You guys can clearly understand. Here we just using. We are not calling anywhere. Okay. So now I am going to implement the data-driven approach. Okay. Test case. Keep in mind test case from this point of view. Okay. So I am going to get a new file. This is the API, test APIs. I am going to give a under the features. I am going to write a test cases like I am telling user. So not file. Oh my God, sorry for it. Did I give a file? Feature file. This is a new folder. User. Okay. Under this folder, I am going to create my feature file. User DDT, data driven testing approach. Okay. Feature file. So sorry for it. I will let me put a charger. Okay. So what is this? First feature, user data driven plus reusable flow. We are using the flow. Okay. Reusable this files and data driven this file. So we combining in a test case. Okay. First is what is the first thing I always tell you. Okay. Then the background. When you have more than one one scenario in a feature file, go to background, because background will save you a lot of lines of code. Okay. So what is the two things? One is you need the URL. So for that base URL, what's the next thing? You need a data. Dev use the data. Where is the data coming? So for this, read from where. As usual, I told you, teach you class path. From the class path, where is the data? Data slash user hyphen data dot JSON file. From here only it's coming. Simply it will read and store in the user data. Okay. Now I'm going to write a scenario. Okay. This is now clear, understand. This is scenario outline. Why scenario outline? Generally there are two kind of ways it works. One is when you are using this values and trying means, that is one way. There are two ways. One is you can, step one is create a user ID. Another way you can use from examples also. One is you can use using user data. Another way is like as usual you guys have studied Cucumber. Everyone has studied using examples, putting examples, the three data. There are two kind of data driven. Instead of keeping outside, inside the feature file itself, you can simply pass it. Okay, I hope you guys are brilliant on that one, but I'm just telling if you are not knowing that one, then you should have a little identification. Like there are two kind of ways. One is this way I taught you, another one is scenario outline, that is directly passing, but I always recommend go to scenario, because keeping test data in feature file is make you complicate. Keeping outside this, you can increase the number of easily data, it have a clean image, but if you keeping in examples here now, alignment issue will come, the feature file become very lengthier, there are so many real practical complexities you want to understand. Okay, now we are going to the simple scenario, like execute, I'm executing all the users, execute all the users. Okay, keep in mind this is scenario, not a scenario outline. What is scenario outline? Scenario outline, you cannot use user data, you should use examples in below, but right now I'm going to use a user data. The user data has everything for me. Okay, now in this, first is we need to create a loop. Okay, because we are running a multiple times. For each where is the data is coming from? It's coming from user data. So each time user is coming, I'm going to write a function. For the function, there are two things. One is I'm going to pass each is one user. From the user data, I'm going to pass each user under this function. Okay, so I'm going to keep this one. So for each method, first is where create. Okay, I'm creating a, let's take a create user. This is the API going to run every time. Karate dot call, whom I should call this scenario. See, this is the exact scenario. Keep in mind, we are not calling any other one. There are two cases. If I give a generally, I'm telling you, but as usual, I will complete this one, then I will tell you. Class path, under the class path is features, under the features reusable, under that user hyphen API dot feature. Okay, but it will run both. If I call this file, two cases, how can I define only one from this place one? That time only I want to taught you. Another word is tags. At tag. So tag, I'm going to create user. So I'm going to use this create user here. Now this is the way I can divide the is. Then I want to pass this user, because if I pass this user only, what will happen? This user will go to here, this name, the job, because the for each, it will take the first user. For the first user, Prashant and SDET, this will pass as a user, and this will be passed it to them. Okay, see how simple it makes. Okay, now next one is in here there are two things. Okay, why first of all, wait, give me a second. Why there is an error? Unexpected element. Interesting. What error I did mistake? Because we need to solve the issues on the way. Don't keep the issues for multiple places. It will in the long run, because we may do silly mistakes. Interesting. Okay, now I will come back to this one. Where next one is I want to take the user ID from this guy. So create user. From the create user, what is the variable name? User ID. So dot user ID. So take the variable and store it here. Okay. Next, what's the next step should be? The next step should be call the next API. Okay. For that, where I'm writing where this is create user, this is get user, equal to, as usual, same story, karate dot call I'm going to copy paste the entire thing. So first thing is you need a tag, get user. Okay, so everything is going to be repetitive only, so you don't need to worry about. Next one is, last time we passed the user, now we need to pass the user ID, because this user ID only we need to pass in the path. So for that we need to pass the user ID where we get from the previous step. Okay, so now we have the clarity. Okay, see here I give a previously one additional space. Sorry for it. So due to that it brought up that error. Okay, so now my test case is ready, my data is ready, data driven approach is ready, auth is ready, everything is ready. So what is the next thing? So in Cucumber, one is feature file, next is step definition. There is in Karate there is no step definition, one is feature file, next thing is was runner file. Okay, run is the more important, because that is the one which execute the code. This and all it won't execute. Okay, this function. Okay, so now under the Java, right now this is the first time we are coming to Java. Okay, so first one is under the Java we need a package. This is runner package. Under the runner, keeping a runner class, runner test. Little maximize little. In this runner, the first thing is we want to write a karate test. This karate test, we should have one tag. What tag? Karate dot test. For this we should have, this is not a public first of all, because this is the run Sakraj everywhere. In this return set karate dot run the method. In the run method, if you want you can go for parallel. Okay, now we need to import, add a, okay, so why this is error means we need to go to the form file. While creating a form file we didn't do this refresh, because this will install these things. Okay, so that's the reason. So now it's done. Now we come and see. So the import the class, we simply importing karate dot test and parallel. Let's take one parallel, two parallel, three parallel, like multiple parallels. Okay, so thread count is 0, and there is a in sometimes some places we can run tags also. Suppose the another one is called tags. In this tags what will happen na, if you want to run the feature files, if you don't have this one, you have this one, means you can simply pass the tags also. That is the one way of running. We can write multiple tags. Then what is the another options other than this one? Sorry, in Java there is no single quote, double quote. Okay, sometimes Python and Java all are working. The single quote and double quote will torture me. Okay, so next one is run. Suppose when you have a multiple feature files, or you want to run, some people still use how I told you what is the path, class path, until suppose if your code didn't run, okay, it's not able to figure out your this folder na, at the time you will go path. But I always runs directly go to the class path and takes the feature. But in case it didn't able to find the path, then you should use this one, karate dot and on the run pass the paths. Tags used to run, and even if you want to ignore now, put that asterisk in front. That won't run. If you want run, remove that one. And parallel, you can give 2 parallel. Suppose you have 10 APIs parallel run, you can able to give 10. It will run. It will make your test cases faster to complete. Okay. So moreover covered it. What you guys know, and I will take next 3 days. You guys can try this approach. Okay. So take your time, follow this pattern, try it. After 3 days, I will do another video, and in that video, I will try to run the CI/CD. Which one? GitHub workflow. Connecting this into uploading into GitHub, from the GitHub creating GitHub Actions to create a GitHub workflow to run on different environments. Okay, so this is the outline. Okay, so moreover I covered basic things. If you want, I can give another one also. Like take an example, this one. Okay, examples I'm telling. Scenario outline. So for scenario outline, you want to simply don't change anything. Don't put this hash. Simply keep this square bracket, not square bracket. This direction upper, lower, this one. And here you want to keep what? Examples. In the examples, keep the name only for name. Another one is job. Let's put Prashant and QA. Okay, so let's keep too simple. Okay, not this one. Okay, you guys clear, right? So this is the using outlines. This is the old approach generally we do, but this is the better, like we keep the outside. Okay, so what are the first thing is add the dependencies and the plugin. The next one is write the config, very important, to write the auth header hooks. Next, the environment is mandatory, like which environment you are running. Next, we need to use auth function and store the auth in the config for everyone. Then write the reusable methods, keep the test data, then write a TDD approach to call the certain method and storing that method, passing the for each, using the for each, reading the data. That's it. So simple. And for runner, simply you can call the runner using parallel and tags. Okay, I hope this character is very simple. Only one we see, if anyone give more attention, the only coding is Java coding is this one. Remaining at all, nowhere is a coding. You just write your actual JSON .features file. That's it. Too easy to learn. Within one day, if anyone want to do automation, API automation, if you know already manual automation, manual API, then this is easy, super duper for you. Okay, so thanks for joining. If you like the video, please like and subscribe and share to your friends. I will share the next, after 3 days after you try, I will share the next video. In that video, I will try to implement this in the to directly in the GitHub to execute, how to write a YAML file, those things, and how to write a command for this one, to executing and running those steps. Okay, if you have any doubts, please put me in the comment. I will try to check like if I'm able to cover while trying this one. If you face any issues, put me in the comment. After 3 days, I'm taking another session, right, to set up this one. At the time, I will do the remaining, covering these issues as well as setup of that one. Okay, fine, right? You guys, anyone have any doubts? And if anyone want to know how to see the what is the run command we need to use this, I'm just writing it for your reference. Simply you can write maven man test. What we need to pass, I told you, we need to pass whatever your passing the parameter, simply you can pass karate. In that karate that env. So what env, like if you want to run a QA, if you want a dev, so this parameter automatically will run. This you want to run in the terminal, like maven test, then passing the environment variable and env with the values. So this is the way we need to pass the command to execute this run file. So you don't need to go to inside, simply you can run this from outside, automatically this will run. Okay, so I hope everything I covered. The reporting part, we have reports, right? So how to implement a report, how to pull this into GitHub, and how to create a GitHub action using the YAML file. We will running schedule also, that also I will teach you in the CI/CD plus reporting of Karate API framework. So thanks for watching. Bye then.